Yeah, I know. But if we have the fan on, then it's blowing right on the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it makes that sound. Hey guys,
Hello, everybody.
how is everyone doing tonight? I know you guys are going to get some ads. It's going to take a minute. That's fine. We have some announcements before we get started anyway, so we'll just do those now. And if you're coming in late or if you're coming in off of an ad, you can just watch the first 5 minutes of the video back later. The first thing I wanted to show off, kind of, because we've been talking about this for such a long time. Anyone who's been following us knows how much time and energy we've put into this. But we have in hand the United States of America Patent and Trademark Office certificate for Kind People Do Beautiful Things.
Awesome.
How do you feel about that, Anna?
Amazing.
This is, a project that we took on. We had no idea what to expect, but felt like her quote was important enough to our branding, important enough to her future, that it was worth trademarking. So we went through that whole process. It took time, it took money, it took lots of patience. Oh my gosh, it took so long, but it's done. It's done. Like it was done, and then it was done. Now it's done. That's how many end phases of this there are. Now it is there for at least the next 10 years. It will have to continue filing. What did they call it? Some verification of use, basically, that we're still using it and that we still want it to continue to be trademarked. Has to be updated every 10 years. So how do you feel that's going to be yours for as long as you want it to be? Going into adulthood, that's a pretty big deal. You'll get to...
Maybe I don't want it anymore in adulthood.
Maybe you don't.
I could just stop doing it.
You could just stop filling out. Thank you, Sarah, for the super sticker. You could just stop filling out the forms and it'll cease to exist, and that's fine too. But yeah, it's there. And the other thing, Anna was going to tell you guys about something new that she started doing last week. Do you want me to show them, or do you want to tell them? Actually, tell them first before.
Yes. So I have a new class that I just started taking a week ago, a Mandarin Chinese class, which is actually going quite well. And the teacher is very nice, and she's very funny too. She calls everybody in the class Honey Bunny.
She's like, thank you, Regina and Sharon, for the super stickers. Thank you, Diane. She's like a Chinese grandma, right? Like figure, kind of that kind of figure, grandmother figure. Very sweet woman. You're still taking Spanish.
Well, hold on. I just wanted to acknowledge Sarah's comment.
Mm-hmm.
She said, wow, Anna, Mandarin and Chinese. That is wonderful. So it's actually not Mandarin and Chinese, but it's just the two, Mandarin Chinese. It's just like one language, essentially.
Mandarin is a form of Chinese. It is the dialect, correct, babe? Like there, what else is there besides Mandarin? Or is that just the only name for
Cantonese? I think, and there's a lot of other ones, but I don't know.
We're not familiar with them all, but I know that Mandarin is, I'm pretty sure it's the most widely spoken. So typically,
I think it's the main officially recognized.
Thank you, Terry, for the super sticker. We're still a bit ignorant when it comes to Chinese. This is new for all three of us.
Yeah.
So we're learning as we go. It's not like, she's been in Spanish for a year now, so we're feeling a lot more comfortable with Spanish, but we're still learning about Chinese. But this is a good next step, I think. And she's about to be done in the next month with like her core curriculum classes for the summer, and she'll just be taking her fun classes and her foreign language. So it's a good readjustment of energy for the summer months.
And one step closer to becoming a polyglot.
And before anyone says anything, yes, she's allowed to take a break from school, but no, she never wants to. Do you want to take a break where you have like weeks off and not have any classes whatsoever?
I mean, it's not like I super duper duper want to like most kids want to. When it's like spring break, oh, I get free, and I got nothing to do. Just hang out at my home and look for Easter eggs. And well, that's not me. I still like to take classes because I always have been the learning person in this house.
At least you guys.
Well, you can. You can take time off if you decide you want to. I hope you realize that. We did try to encourage it for a couple of weeks last summer, and she was like, I just want to keep doing my classes. It's so much fun for her.
Sometimes I do take away some classes, but there's fun stuff I still want to keep. Like this summer, I want to keep my Procreate anime thing, and I want to keep a few other classes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would definitely want to keep Spanish though.
Yeah, definitely. We'll keep up with the Spanish. It's going so well, and her teacher is just phenomenal. Do you want to read them one more thing? Go ahead.
Yeah, and so for this class, there is some you can write down, and you really have to write down all this stuff, including Chinese characters and all that. So I have a little Chinese notebook. Show them the front of it.
Front of it?
Where it says Chinese.
Oh, it's barely visible.
This
This is her notebook for taking notes. Do you want me to show them what you wrote first?
Well, no.
Thank you, Sally. Thank you so much. Sally says, Mandarin, very impressive, Anna. So she has written in here the numbers 1 through 10. That's the first thing that her teacher asked her to learn. She doesn't have them fully memorized, but you can read them, you think, for the most part?
Yes.
Okay.
I want Daddy to try saying them.
I don't know. That's
We're not going to
wrong.
spend too much time on this because we've got other stuff to do, but you
Yeah.
can go ahead and read through them real quick, and then I'll show them your handwriting.
Yeah. So first, there's 2 ways to say 1. Now, most people say it the second way if they're like talking about a phone number, because there is another way of saying the first one, and it means another thing too. So what happens is they usually, when they're saying phone numbers, they use the second one, and so it doesn't confuse numbers. So the 2 ways of saying them are E. E is the first way of saying 1. And then there's Yao. Yao is...
I'm not saying them. You tell them. I'm not doing it.
Tell them.
Yeah.
I don't have the
Okay.
practice.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yao is the second one. And then for 2, we've got R. I want everybody to say that if they can.
We're not just
say it.
run
Just
through
go
them.
through it.
Just run through them.
R. And then for 3, it's San.
Anna wants to do a whole class.
4 is Se. 5 is Wu. And then there's 6 is Liu. 7 is Ji. 8 is Ba. 9 is Jiu. And then 10 is Shu. And then there's for 0, which is Ling. And then that's all the numbers. And
then she had to write some copy. She had to copy some notes.
Hey, Daddy.
Sorry. So those are her notes that she copied. And
I don't exactly remember how to say them all because I don't remember.
that's
but,
okay. You've only had 2 classes.
Yeah, that first one that I wrote with all the weird squiggly stuff and some weird house-like shapes.
It's not weird. It's the way that they write their letters.
It's normal.
Sometimes it's just like
Not
it
any
looks
more
kind
weird
of
than our
confusing.
letters are weird.
I mean, yes, there are some weird letters. Q is like some swirly thing with upside down backwards G thing. I don't know.
So and also one of the interesting parts about this language is the different tones, right?
Yes, there's 4 tones. The first tone is just like a flat thing. So if you were saying MA, which would, if you did that with the first tone, it would mean teacher. Ma, That means teacher.
Can you quickly get, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 tones. So the first tone is flat.
Yeah,
right?
the first tone is just flat.
What's the second
So
tone?
it's like ma. The second tone is the rising tone.
What's that? How's that one go?
Well, the rising tone is what happens is it still affects the A. But if you did the rising tone, it would go ma, like essentially like that if you said it that way, but just say it a little bit faster, like ma, and then just like it goes up.
And then the third tone is
It's just like you would say 5. It's the falling rising tone.
Mm-hmm.
The falling rising tone is like, it's like when you say 5.
It's like a check mark.
Essentially. Yeah, it's like ooh. That means 5, and so that's the falling rising tone. And then the last one is the falling tone.
Falling tone.
Yeah.
We watched a video and I thought that was really interesting. So we're kind of like, Erin and I kind of pick up little things here and there while we're listening to her learn about this stuff. But yeah, it's a whole brand new thing. So, but it'll be fun. Thank you, Lorraine, for the super sticker. Thank you, everybody, for the super stickers. Yeah. So let's get into the reason why we wanted to do the live tonight. Not the reason why, but the topic of the live tonight. We are going to talk about our SBSK interview. I thought it'd be good to, and I think we planned on doing this last week, and for some reason it didn't end up happening, but we wanted to talk about like what we thought when we found out we were doing it, and what our expectations or what we thought our expectations might be for doing it versus how it actually turned out, and our thoughts about Chris, and our thoughts about the feedback. It's been viewed. I checked earlier today and it's had over 700,000 views, which is crazy. I looked and the like 6 videos that Chris has posted prior to this one were like on track. I mean, they're like from a month ago and we've already plowed past them in views, which is insane. So I'm not exactly sure what the allure is for ours versus others. Probably just Anna's cute face being on the thumbnail. I don't know. I don't know what.
You mean his cute face?
You know, it could be. It could have been.
Cute face.
It could have been the title that Chris put on it. Tanya says it was shorter than what I thought it would be. I think most of his videos run between like 15 and 30 minutes, and ours was like 20 something. So it's kind of right in the middle range. That makes sense. And I think that's one thing that I think it's good for people to remember, that Chris was here for like 3 or 4 hours. So, and he was filming pretty much the whole time. I would say there's a good 3 hours of footage that he had to dig through in order to make that 20-minute video. So I don't think people understand, people who don't make videos for a living like we do, don't understand how much happens in the span of time you're making a video and how very much gets cut out when you edit a video. And I think some of our followers, some of our subscribers probably have a better understanding now, because recently we did a video where we showed them the behind the scenes of filming the video, and I haven't even finished editing that video yet. So they'll get to see the huge difference between what was filmed and what goes into the end product. So I think people also tend to lose sight of the fact that you can't possibly make a decision about who someone is or what they're like or how they behave based on one 20-minute video. I mean, that's just foolish to even think that. So taking 5, 10, 20 minutes snapshot of someone's life is not a good picture of everything you need to know about them. But anyway, let's start with when we found out, because we found out probably a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Well, how did you know about it? Once you looked on how you found out, like to do so?
How did we find out? Somebody, was it Sharon? Somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, Chris is doing interviews and he's going to start doing them in Florida. You guys should think about it. It might have been Sharon. I don't remember. But somebody reached out and said, hey, this is happening. And so I asked Anna if she was interested, right?
Actually, nobody reached out. It was you showed me a little video of him, and he's like, "I'm gonna be doing interviews in the southern."
That
part
was
of the
because
US."
someone sent it to me.
Oh.
Yeah. So someone reached out and told me about it.
Oh, Suzanne reached out to Sharon, and then she messaged you about it.
Oh, okay. That's right. Yes, Suzanne. Thank you, Suzanne. So Suzanne found it, sent it to Sharon. Sharon sent it to me. Thank you, Michael, for the super sticker. Michael says, awesome how you're always learning, Anna, and teaching the world. Thank you for your knowledge. So I then approached Anna and said, is this something that you're interested in doing? Now, if you don't know Anna, you probably don't know that she has a long history of interviewing people. She's been doing interviews since she was 4 years old. You can find them all on our YouTube channel if you haven't seen them. Babe, we're gonna need a plug. We're gonna need the plug.
Oh.
Sorry, guys. So if you haven't seen Anna's interviews from the time she was 4, they're really fun. She interviewed a lot of AMCers when the year that she was 4 for arthrogryposis awareness, including Ryan Page, who everyone always mentions when they see her for the first time. They always think it's her. They always say, isn't this that girl that did American Idol a few years ago? And like, no, it's the girl who did X Factor over 10 years ago, is now finished with college and married, and her name is Ryan, and that's not the same person. But Anna and Ryan have the same condition, so, and they look alike, so it's understandable. So I asked Anna if she was interested, and she said she was. And so I told her, if this is something you want to do, now that you're 8 years old and you can write and you can articulate and all that good stuff, if this is something you want to do, then you need to be the one to reach out to him about doing it, right? I said, write your own letter to him, because he was asked, he said, if you want to interview with me, reach out and tell me.
Type up 2 paragraphs about your personality and you.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And instead, I just typed up, me and Mommy, she edited a little bit, but I typed up an entire 2-page printed long thing.
She did. She went a little long with it. But after I was going to have her cut it down to the 2 paragraphs that Chris asked for. But after I read it, I couldn't do it. I was like, man, this is
she's
so
just
good.
like, just send it to me.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and give it to him.
Yeah. So she sent it to me. I think I added 1 sentence and that was it.
Yeah, about our nonprofit.
Yep, about our nonprofit. That's right. And we sent it off and we waited. And I don't remember how long it was. Not that long.
But there was a point where I guess he's not good.
Maybe a month.
Maybe
a month. He emailed and said, I would be happy to interview your family. And we started talking about logistics. So at that point, all of our imaginations went wild, I would imagine, in what to expect in this interview. So, babe, what did you expect when actually, Anna, you go first. What did you think?
It's like, Daddy, what did you? No. Anna.
Well, because I just want to hear your unbiased, thoughts. What did you think when you first found out you were going to be doing the interview?
I was at first surprised, like, oh, he actually took this option, and he's like, and I'm like, wow. I was surprised.
Look at the camera while we're talking, please.
Yeah. At first I was very surprised, and then I was like, wow, this is actually an interesting thing. And then it happened, and I was like, I feel proud of myself for actually doing this. And then so it's like, first it was one thing, now it's another, and then it's another.
But let's just focus on before we did it. When you found out you were doing it, what did you think it would be like? What did you think about?
I thought it would be like he would just come here, and then he'd sit down with me, and he'd ask me some questions about things about me, and just regular serious questions, and then it would be over and that's it. But it ended up being it ended up being an entire cool thing with you guys and Gemelli.
We'll get into that in a minute, but that's what you thought. You thought you'd just sit
Yeah.
down and ask you questions and then, okay, see you later, kid. Take off.
What?
Is that what you thought?
Not exactly. See you later, kid. That's
Is that it?
weird.
That's all your thoughts about before we did it?
I mean, I was very excited to do it too because I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be cool. I'm excited. I get to answer some cool questions. And then it turned out to be something totally different than what I thought it would be.
Okay, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Babe, what did you think when we first found out we were doing it?
I was really excited because I've been following SBSK for a long time, like before I even knew these guys. And I think in some way it led me to them, like the algorithms like said, oh, you watch SBSK, maybe these guys will be interesting to you. So I was excited. I've been watching him since his very first viral video before I think he was doing SBSK when he was still a teacher. So I was really excited just to be able to meet him. It'd be kind of cool to just meet him. And very, very excited and honored that he was interested in Anna. So yeah, I was.
Probably because I typed up an entire 2-page
I'm sure that impressed him.
Instead of
I'm sure that impressed him. Yeah. Mhm.
And mostly I typed it up too.
Yeah.
It was very
course.
interesting.
How about
Yeah.
you?
Sharon wants to know if you were nervous at all.
Not really, no.
What about you?
I was a little nervous before he got here because I just didn't really know what the format of
expect.
but yeah, that's before he came here. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that it was at first I thought it was going to be more of an entourage. I thought there would be like a film crew or something. I didn't know because I'm not as familiar with Chris and his work as Aaron is. I've seen some of the videos over time, but I haven't watched them regularly by any means. Thank you, Jennifer. And so I thought that it was going to be more formal than it was at first, but then I had a lot of interaction with Chris by email before it got to that point before he got here. And I started to realize that it was not going to be quite that formal. He said it was going to be himself and his partner, and then she ended up not being able to make it. So it was just him. And from the time he walked in the door, it was very comfortable.
Yeah.
I didn't feel nervous or awkward or anything. It just felt like we were having a friend over. Yeah. He's very, very nice guy, very personable, very fun to be around, and definitely good at his questions. He started from the second he walked in the door, he started asking the questions. He wasn't even filming and he was asking her questions. So, that was, it just made for a good, comfortable get together. I didn't know what to expect. My expectations or my concerns or whatever beforehand weren't necessarily surrounding the filming itself. I knew that we would be fine with that. We're all very comfortable being in front of a camera.
Like we are right now.
I knew that Anna would be fine being interviewed. She's done it, plenty of times. She's very comfortable with people and being in front of the camera. So I wasn't really concerned about that. I think my concern was more so related to, thank you, Debbie, the aftermath. How people, because, the internet is going to internet, of course. And, how was he going to edit things together, and what were we going to be focusing on? Because I knew we wouldn't be able to get everything in there. It's a short interview. You can't possibly encompass 8 years of a life into, this little video. So, and were we going to, how much were, like, for instance, I talked about the nonprofit when we were filming. We talked a little more about arthrogryposis than what made it in there. So there was a lot more that went into filming that, of course, didn't make it into the end product. And so, that was my main thing, was like, what was it going to end up being. And then I was hopeful that it would bring more followers into our YouTube channel, seeing that we're trying to grow our YouTube channel. I was hopeful that more people would find us. So that was definitely a thought of mine as well. Okay, so then let's talk about what really happened and how we felt about the interview. And then we can get into some questions that people have about it. Or actually we'll talk about what happened and what we think of the video and the like aftermath.
Mhm.
And then we'll get to some of your questions that you guys had put on the post earlier today and that you have here today. So Anna, what did you think about the interview itself? Like just the time with Chris here that day.
Well, I was fine with it because I've done many interviews before and I've been on live streams and videos and stuff. So I was quite comfortable sitting behind the camera and answering all the questions and all that. And he was a very mellow guy.
Very what?
What?
Mellow.
Mellow? I
said
thought you said metal.
Metal.
I was like what? He was a very metal guy.
Wow.
No, he was very mellow.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he was a very mellow guy
Yes.
and he
Very chill.
did some really interesting questions too, instead of just like all kinds of stuff. He did like if you had superpowers and little stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was fun. And also I was very happy at the time. And I thought it went amazing.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so he was easy to get along with. What are some of the things that you enjoyed that you guys did together?
Probably just chatting about anything and everything.
You guys played in
Yeah,
your
yeah,
playroom
about
for like an
playing.
hour
Yeah,
after.
well, not an hour.
It was a long
Yeah, it was a
time.
It was like 10, 15 minutes because we were having a very chaosy battle. Because it was just like, I have some toys and they're like little mice and then they go around. They just
Like
scurry
little
around.
mechanical mice.
Yeah, they go backwards and forwards
Mhm.
and to the right. We took the only one that actually worked out, along with a whole bunch of other moving guys, like some other wheelie guys, and just set them all on the table and turned them on, and then they just fought a little battle until everybody got pushed off the table, and whoever was still on the table won the entire game. And he thought it was going to be the Care Bear, but it actually ended up being the unicorn, and then she fell off too, right when the Care Bear fell off. So nobody won.
Yeah,
Double count out.
Aaron and I were sitting in the family room just chilling. Anna was taking Chris on a tour of the house, and they got into the playroom and she started showing him her toys. And the next thing we know, we hear them playing with the toys. we were secretly hoping some of that would make it into the final video, but I think he might have put his camera down for a good part of that.
Yeah, he set it on the corner of the table.
Yeah.
He didn't record it.
Sarah says, I love how he added you and Aaron into it too. Well, his intention was to come over and interview the family, not just Anna. I mean, of course, it's about Anna's life, but we are part of her life. So kind of the same thing, like people who watch our page and they're like, this is supposed to be just about Anna. No, it's not. It's about Anna's life and her family, and we are her family. So that's the way that works. But yeah, it was, he said that he was going to interview you, and then he was going to interview you and him together. And then he's going to interview you and Mom, and then he's going to interview you and Dad, and then he's going to interview you and Jamelli, and then you gave him a tour. That's why he was here for like 4 hours. It was a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah.
Babe, what did you think about while he was here?
I thought it was fun. It was fun to listen to him asking her questions, and she never missed a beat, just answered and had a lot to say. And I was a little nervous when I had to talk, because I didn't really prepare or anything. I just kind of had to think about, when he asked me questions, how I was I just responded. But I got through it.
Aaron has not had as much experience, as much time in front of the camera as Anna and I have. So he still gets nervous when he's put on the spot. Whereas Anna's like super improv and I'm usually pretty quick on my feet. Leanne says, Aaron was bashful.
Darlene says, I liked how you told him about the gobbledygooks and you helped him draw his protective suit.
Yeah.
Well, hey, just know that I'll tell you more about this cool stuff when I host the Zoom.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you guys so much for the super stickers. Yeah, I enjoyed hearing them talk. We were out of the room because, of course you don't want the distraction. So we were over here in the living room. They were over there in the family room. So we could peek around the corner, but we tried not to. So we didn't get, in her eye line and just let them do their thing. And she was very bouncy and jumping around. I think he originally intended to film her sitting on the couch, but she didn't feel like sitting. She wanted to show him how her foot goes up over her head. So,
and then I just ended up standing up.
And then she ended up twirling around and talking about how many twirls she did in dance class and all this other stuff. But yeah, it was fun listening to them talk. And of course, everything circled back to, she really enjoyed telling him about Hypatia and her unicorns and all of that kind of stuff. I know one of the questions that I saw, I'm going to address that real quick since we're kind of talking about it, was why did the interview not focus more on her arthrogryposis? And I think that the reason was that, Chris did not have like an agenda for the interview that I'm aware of. It seemed like he just kind of was cycling through the same kind of questions he probably asks everyone he interviews. And I think inherently in answering those questions, the dynamic of the person you're interviewing or the family you're interviewing comes out. And I'm sure when he sits down with all of that footage in front of him, a final video starts to reveal itself as he's going through editing. It starts to kind of take on its own form and shape based on, it has to be cohesive. You can't have a 20-minute video that's jumping all over the place. So if he started out editing and he was really gravitating towards listening to her story about Hypatia, which I think he really enjoyed, then it makes sense. And he kind of turned it. I thought it was fun that he kept playfully coming back, because that's one of the things with autism is like, no matter how much you like try to redirect her and talk to her about something more serious, she will find a way of coming back to the interest that she has and the things she wants to talk about in that moment. And so he really highlighted that in the video. And I thought it was fun and we thought it was funny. And so I think that the reason why arthrogryposis wasn't more highlighted in this interview was because that's not the bulk of what Anna was focused on. The interview was very Anna-led. He asked very general questions and she answered them with whatever was on her mind at the time and what she felt and thought. And that day, it just was more about her interests and her activities. And she was excited to meet him and she was being very playful with him. And that's just how it ended up. I don't think that it was certainly not like an intentional, like, we're not going to talk about arthrogryposis. We did. He asked her about her condition. She kind of brushed over it and then moved on. He asked me about her condition. You guys saw that part where I explained a little bit more in depth what it is. But we didn't get a chance to talk about like her life with arthrogryposis. And so if you're a new person coming to the video and you're just watching that 20 minutes about our family, you have no clue what we've been through in Anna's lifetime. No clue whatsoever about how much we have been through medically with surgeries and therapies and all of that stuff. Just there's nothing in there. And when you look at Anna today, you don't understand that she was a baby with knees stuck bent and arms stuck straight who couldn't move at all, right? So the good thing is that's what our page primarily focuses on, or did focus on for a long period of time. And that's what the vast majority of our videos from the first 5 years, 6 years of Anna's life are about. So anyone who continues to, wants to learn more about our family and follow us can find out that information from our website and from our videos. So we've extensively raised awareness for arthrogryposis and talked about arthrogryposis over the years, enough that I don't really necessarily feel like it was a lost opportunity. I think that being that Anna was just recently diagnosed with autism, I think it's just a new thing in our world. It's something that we're kind of all still figuring out. And I think that was just more at the forefront of everything. So I think that's why. You guys have any thoughts about that?
No, I think that's just kind of anytime somebody's doing like kind of a documentary, they have to like pick a path, or kind of it has to tell a story. So with whatever information they have, however they want to do it, or what they have to work with, that's what they'll get.
So what did you think then, Anna, about the outcome, about the end result interview, the video that was posted by Chris? What did you think? And I did see a question earlier asking if we had the opportunity to review it and approve it before it was posted. No, we did not get to see it before it was posted. We saw it at the same time that you guys did when it was posted.
Although we might have seen it earlier than some people because we knew when it was going to go.
Right. Well, we knew when it was going to be posted, but we didn't get access to it before the public. No. We saw it at the same time as many of you watched it when it went public. Yeah. Anna, what did you think about the end result?
Well, I thought that I really liked how he edited it up together and how he clipped it up and did all kinds of cool stuff. And I thought it was super interesting how he did all the really interesting stuff. And I was very excited to see what the thing actually would be, full thing, right before we actually watched it. And I think it's an amazing impression of me and my imagination too.
What were some of your favorite parts of it?
Probably when we talked about hypothia, definitely. And when we talked about when he asked me if I could have like one little magical power.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably about it. And if I could change one thing about the world.
Okay. All right. What about you, Babe? What did you think about the end product?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was really fun and kind of just showed how she interacts with people. And I think that, what are we going to get into? I think some people who aren't familiar with her or aren't familiar with, people that might have autism might react a little bit differently, and they might interpret it as something else and not what it is. So that was a little bit, I don't know, frustrating for me, I think.
The reactions,
yeah. But I myself didn't get it because I know her,
Right.
I know how she reacts. And I think that Chris understood that because he's started out as a special ed teacher. So I think he knows. That's why I don't think he was bothered by any of how Anna reacted.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different for us because we know her, right? Like and for many of you, I mean, I noticed that all of our, like literally every single one of our followers, those who actively follow us and enjoy our social media postings, thought it was great. Like nobody said, oh, that didn't go so well, you guys. Everybody was excited. They loved to hear Anna's imagination. They're used to that. And they're used to our mannerisms and the way we are. But, I think there were, now I personally, before I get into that, I want to say that I thought it was good. Like I said earlier, I thought it was cute.
Yeah.
The way he made it really fun and playful and kind of centered around her story. You know, like the overarching theme was her story about this imaginary place that she's been working on in her head for a long time.
Not working on it, I'm the leader of it.
But you know, interwoven in that playful, fun story were these facts about our life. And so I thought it was a very well put together video. I agree with Erin in that it was disappointing to see some of the responses. And I think that there's a few different subsets of people who responded. I do think that the majority of responses were positive. I think that the majority of responses were people who enjoyed the video, enjoyed Anna and her personality and her bubbliness and her imagination. People who have autistic children who are similar to Anna, and they get it and they understood and they talked about that. There was a lot of other personal experiences. There were a lot of positive responses. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum were the people who just generally are internet trolls, just really kind of make a lifestyle out of going around the internet and commenting on various videos negatively. Like they're always looking for the negative. They're always looking to stir up something. They're always looking to be nasty about things. And that's just kind of what they do. And that's how they live their life. And that's probably because, you know, they're just unhappy about some portion of their own life. And so that's just what they do. I found a few of those. There were a few people that I was like, is this person for real? And then I click on their profile and you can see the other comments they've made on other videos. And they're the same kind of just bullying and grossness. Yeah. And that's on them. You know, they're the ones who have to live with that behavior. And then there were people in the middle who there were people who genuinely were like the stereotypical, I don't know what autism is. I don't understand it fully. And these are my neurotypical reactions to this video. You know, people who are like, there's no way she's autistic. I know people who are autistic. She's nothing like them. She just seems conceited. She just seems full of herself. You know, like it's a knee-jerk reaction again to 20 minutes of video footage for a person that you know nothing about, that you didn't even take the time to get to know by exploring other videos. And you clearly don't have a full understanding of what autism is.
And placing your own experience of life onto somebody else.
Yeah. So. And you're literally complaining about like a quintessential autistic behavior. You're like, teach her not to be this, teach her not to be autistic. I can't do that. Like it's, you know, I can teach her how to be mindful of her behaviors and I can teach her how those behaviors might affect others, but she's 8, you know, like it takes time to learn that kind of nuance. So those were the things that, you know, and I think someone commented yesterday and kind of lumped it all together and said something to the effect of, man, Chris, like your comments are going largely unmoderated and there's a lot of bullying happening here. And so it would be nice if there was some moderation involved and some, you know, dealing with the, like you guys are, you know, you're used to our page where we very closely moderate the comments. We don't put up with that. We don't allow that kind of negativity and trash on our page, and we will take it out all day long. And it's always been important to me. And it's not a matter of not, you know, being realistic, because trust me, we deal with it, all 3 of us, and we process it and we understand it. But it's a matter of it's not productive. It's not positive. It's not helpful in any way. And we're not talking about differences of opinion. We're talking about negativity and just rudeness. Has no place here. And we will get rid of it all the time, all day long. So I guess we should answer some of the questions that people, because we only have about 15 minutes left. So let me go in and read some of them. Let's see what's on our Instagram post. Let's see. Okay, there's nothing over there. There looks like they're all on Facebook.
Oh.
So yeah, Janaea said, I'm trying to look. Let me read real quick and give the gist of her question. She did ask about why we didn't explain more about AMC, and we already touched on that. We already talked about that. I think that's the bulk of it, right, Janaea? You're just wondering why. Oh, the family dynamic. She was also asking because there were a couple people who felt it was their place to let the world know that I'm biologically Anna's grandmother. Felt like we were somehow being deceitful and not explaining that in the interview. So not Janaea. Janaea is just wondering, like, it did make me wonder, why was the family dynamic not covered? So before I give my thoughts, Anna, do you want to give your thoughts on why we wouldn't have taken the time in that interview to explain the details of our family dynamic? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I think one reason I think it's a good thing we probably shouldn't have mentioned it anyway, because there's probably some people that will probably go up there and be like, why are you doing this? And then they're going to be rude about it. And so I think I don't want to stir up the trouble. And so I think that's quite a good reason that we didn't talk about it.
Did you feel like it was important to mention that you've been adopted?
I mean, it's not necessarily like you must it's not like everybody must know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if, like, let's say you did want to, go ahead and share it. But it's just like,
For you personally, do you feel it's important that people know you're adopted?
not necessarily. Because it's not like somebody must know it in order for them to stay alive. It's not like it's a must. It's just like, if you want to, go ahead and do it. If you don't.
Yeah, I don't really. So first of all, it's not something we hide. We're very open about our family dynamic. It's literally plastered all over our website, and it always has been since day one. So it's kind of funny that people somehow think that we're deliberately not talking about it. But at this point, I've been Anna's mom since she was legitimately like a little baby, like an infant, like a newborn, practically baby. So I'm the only mom Anna's ever known. And she has always looked at me as mom. That's why she calls me mommy, because I'm her mom. Correct?
Yes.
I'm the one who's raising her. I'm the one who's been raising her. So for all intents and purposes, I am mom. On top of that, I've adopted her. So legally, I am her mother. I am the only parent on her birth certificate at this time. So I am mom legally as well. So in every way, shape, or form, I'm Anna's mother. And that is our dynamic. And that is not just the dynamic that Anna and I have created. That is the dynamic that our entire family recognizes. Everyone involved, including her birth mother, including my son, including my parents. That's why my mother is Anna's grandma. That's why my father is Anna's grandpa. We are not her grandparents. I am mom. I am mom. I am mom. I am mom. And no matter how much anyone wants to throw in my face, you're not her mother, you're her grandmother because your DNA says so. I'm sorry. That's just not the way it works. It's not the way it works. And if you're going around to other families who have adopted children and telling them that they're not the real parents, you are a cruel and heartless person. And that's just really messed up.
It's like one of those TV shows from when we're kids, when there's like an adopted kid and the one mean kid on the playground says, "That's not your real mom." Like, that's essentially what you're doing. You're the villain.
It's cruel. It's cruel. It's cruel, and it's inconsiderate. And Anna considers me her mom. She considers Aaron her dad. This is our family dynamic. This is what it is. And Aaron's been involved now for 3.5 years. And he's been in our family, in our household for, I don't know how long now, 3 years.
Yeah.
No, you've been involved for 4 years and been in the house for 3 years.
Wow.
So yeah, I know time flies. So, he's established himself as dad. He is the lover, the provider, the caretaker, the one who dotes on her, the one who helps her put her socks on, the one who makes her food. He's dad. And no, he's not a stepdad, because he's not stepping in and replacing anyone. She's not my biological child, and her biological father is not here, and he's stepping in. He's not a step. He's just a full-on dad. And I'm her full-on mom. Now, Anna will tell people, and I think she told Chris that day, I have 2 moms. She has mommy, and then she has mama, which is my older daughter who gave birth to her. I don't talk about my older daughter because she is not part of this household. She is not part of our vlog. She is not part of our current family. She has her own life. I'm not going to invade her privacy by making her a spectacle that has nothing to do with why she's not parenting Anna. Contrary to popular crazy imaginations, my older daughter has never been a drug addict in any way. She is not parenting Anna because of any type of addiction issue. It was simply the best situation for Anna to get the best medical care. I was finishing grad school. I had the money, I had the means, I had the ability to take Anna across the country to all of these expensive, weeks-long medical appointments that were required in order for this child to be able to walk. So that's all it was. It was a better situation for Anna. And my older daughter is selfless enough to understand that that was what was best for the child she gave birth to understand that that dynamic that was created in the first few years that was necessary to give Anna the best chance at life physically was such a strong dynamic that she wasn't going to change it 4, 5, 6 years into the game. So that's why I've adopted her. I have full control over her medical care. I have full control over her schooling. I have full legal rights. So there's none of that messy stuff going on. And that was a gift that my older daughter was mature enough at 19, 20 years old to give her child. So there's no, someone called her a meth head. Like, you people are really that kind of stuff is what will get to me. And they know it. They know it. That's why they do it, right? Because they know it's like a spear to my heart, because I love my children and my kids are amazing. And there isn't any of this craziness that people want to concoct. It just literally was the best for Anna. Everybody has been all about doing what's best for Anna. And Anna knows her mama, and she has plenty of interaction, but that's not for you guys to consume. Just like her interaction with her play friends is not for you guys to consume. People do not have a right to our private story. We are here to share what we want to share. Raising awareness for arthrogryposis, raising awareness for autism, raising awareness for day-to-day life with a child with special needs. And over the years, we've accumulated so many followers that now it's like, there's kind of an obligation to keep sharing our life, because what would you guys do if we just disappeared one day? You'd be like, oh my gosh, what happened to them? Are they okay? Like, so we're going to continue sharing our family as long as it continues to be something fun for us to do, something that we want to do. We'll continue to keep up with you guys. And this is what we do now. And that's fine.
Yeah. And also, like, can I just say something?
But I just want to reiterate real quick.
Okay.
We don't owe you any part of our story. We have no obligation to give you more information about us. And there are parts of our life that are not for your consumption. And you're just going to have to live with that. You don't need those details. And you don't need to watch Anna playing with other kids. That's not cool. If you want to watch Anna playing with other kids, go to a park. If you want to watch kids playing with other kids, go to a park. You can watch kids play all day long. Our channel's not for watching kids play. That's just kind of weird. Our channel is for sharing our family.
It's our family vlog where everybody's included, even Jameli. She's included too, even though she's sleeping.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that this was an SBSK interview. It's not an adoption interview because that's a whole other story. That's a lot of information there. And that's not what Chris does. He's talking about special kids
with special needs.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like he's got to edit it down, and that's probably going to be the first thing to go, right? Because that's not even the topic that he specializes in. Mm-hmm. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. It wasn't the focus of the interview. So yeah, that's why we didn't talk about the family dynamic, because it wasn't relevant. It's not relevant. It's not relevant in our day-to-day story anymore either. Like, we're her parents. This is just an adopted, beautiful child with mom and dad. And that's our day-to-day. And, she's lucky enough to have so many people who love her. Like, there's nothing negative about the situation. It's just that people get upset that they can't know every little detail about our life. And I'm sorry if that upsets you, but tough. Okay. Moving on. That's my little rant part. Because you guys know I'm going to get defensive when it comes to my family. Yes, I am. Let's see. What other questions did we have? And if you guys have anything you want to input, feel free to talk over me. Today is National Autism Day.
Yes.
Actually, I'd have to check my calendar to see if that's right.
It is right.
It's actually
I already checked.
It's National Autism Month, I thought too.
It is.
Yeah, but this is the day. This is the actual day.
Let me see. So another thing, Bonnie said, what are the characteristics that led to the autism diagnosis? So that's another thing. The people saying she's not autistic. She's not autistic. She's not stimming. She's too verbal. She makes too much eye contact. She has too much of an imagination. She's way too smart. She's way too pretty. You wouldn't believe the number of reasons people come up with why she cannot be autistic. My son is autistic. My son was diagnosed when he was 8 years old. He's turning 26 in May. So he was diagnosed a long time ago. I'm pretty sure that I am also autistic now that I have learned more about it from my son and now Anna being diagnosed.
I believe that to be true.
It's painfully obvious now that we know so much more about it. And that's okay. I think it runs in families. We've learned that it's hereditary. So it makes sense that all three of us would be. I believe I have at least one uncle on the maternal side that I would think is probably also diagnosable autistic, and there may be others. So it really makes sense. And it's fine. The thing is, I don't understand the negativity that, like, people are like, oh my gosh, why would you give her that label? Why would you want her diagnosed autistic? She can't be autistic. She's too fantastic. Being autistic isn't a negative thing to us. So I don't understand that mentality because I don't look at it as a negative thing. Now, you could argue that if I had an autistic child who, X, Y, and Z, maybe that's where people are coming from. I don't think so. I think that with any child, regardless of presentation, there's going to be hard times. And we definitely have hard times.
I just wanted to say that, sometimes there's people who are like, she's not autistic, because maybe some of those people, they actually have an autistic kid and they have traits that are not like mine. And so they're just sharing from what they think is correct because of their child instead of what's happening with me and my different things.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I would say probably 98% of the people who say she's not autistic are just ignorant. I mean, not in like a rude way, like they're just ignorant, meaning like they don't know everything about what there is to know about autism. That's it.
Their definitions just only their own experience
or understanding.
Yeah.
They don't have the full broad. I had someone shared a meme that made sense to me. And also some people were talking about how it's not a bucket. It's not like you're a little bit autistic or you're a lot autistic. It's not that kind of spectrum. It's a spectrum as in like a circle where placements are put in different spots. Like either you're autistic or you're not. There's no little bit autistic, medium autistic, lot autistic. You're autistic or you're not. But if you are autistic, it presents in a different way. It's the same.
Like a bucket of water. It's like if it's like barely full, it's not like barely full, or it's not like giant full.
It's not like
you
that.
You can fill it up however full you want it to be.
It's not like that at all. And that's what I think people picture when they think of autism and they hear that there's level 1, level 2, and level 3. They're picturing it being quantified by an amount. And that's not what it is. It's very much like her arthrogryposis. You either have arthrogryposis or you don't. You're not a little bit of an AMC'er. You're not, severely affected, mildly affected. You're still affected. You still have arthrogryposis. It's just that people are affected in different ways. Some people are affected in their uppers. Some people are affected in their lowers. Some people, like Anna, are affected in all 4 limbs. Some people have wrist contractors. Some people don't. Some people with autism are nonverbal. Some people are verbal. Some people with autism, have issues with cognitive delay. Some people are highly cognitive, high IQ, whatever you want to call it. Some people with autism stim when they're overstimulated or nervous. Some people with autism don't. There's just a huge array of behaviors and responses and engagement or lack of engagement that goes with a diagnosis of autism. And I think that one of the things that really threw everyone for a loop was when they categorized autism and put it all under the umbrella of autism spectrum disorder, because it used to be called Asperger's in the past, and it was considered a high functioning autism. And then there was autism, which was always used in a negative context for a child with some type of delay or severe disability. And so it gave people this idea of the bucket of less or more. And they got rid of that and they put it all under one umbrella, which is the correct way, but you still have this dichotomy in understanding of what it is. How does Anna present? What are her autistic characteristics? We've got the info dumping, which is what I do. It's what I do. You guys are hearing me do it this whole video. I'm the talker. I'm the one who relays all the information. I'm the one who has all the data. I'm the one who everything has to be accurate and correct. And I get very upset when information is shared that's not accurate and correct. That's my autism.
And I'm always the one saying, just get to the point. Tell me, you don't need to tell me all this information. Just tell me the main thing.
But I do.
Right.
But I do.
Both of them.
Because I feel like I do.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in order for you to understand fully, I have to give you every little minute piece
the history
of information, all the history leading up
mechanics
to
of
it. That's autism. That's part of it. And someone's going to say, well, I do that and I'm not autistic. Well, A, maybe you are and don't know it. B, being diagnosed with autism isn't one thing. Anna went to an evaluation that was legitimately like 5 hours long. They gave her like 6 different tests, like an array of different schematic things with multiple people. It's not a haphazard. It's not like, here, answer these questions. Oh, okay, you're autistic. No. It's pretty extensive. They have paired it.
It was like a 5-hour test.
It was.
And just talking with her too, on top of it, the actual testing part, just to kind
talking with us, talking with her. Yeah. We packed a lunch, guys. This wasn't like a quick and easy in and out. We packed a lunch and camped out on the couch. We had extensive conversation with her, like Aaron said, and Anna had extensive conversation
with the psychiatrist.
And there was a separate technician who performed like academic testing and things of that nature. When my son was diagnosed, when he was 8, mind you, almost 20 years ago, it was 3 days of testing, you guys, 3 days. We had to drive him back and forth. At the time, we were downriver, Michigan, drove all the way out to Ann Arbor to U of M. So it was like a 45-minute drive back and forth every day for 3 days in a row for him to get tested. So this is not something they take lightly. And everyone wants to say, oh, they're just handing out autism diagnoses like it's glitter. No, I'm sorry. No, they're not. That's what people think. People think that it's the new fad diagnosis. Like everybody wants it. Like, I want to be autistic too. I mean, no, you don't, because in addition to the info dumping, there's the problems with transitioning. I experienced that. You experience that. My son experiences that. They caught it when he was in preschool.
And I experience it.
And my husband experiences it because he's part of the family. Where, dude, if plans change at the last minute, I am not the person you want to be around. I can't help it. I like lose my center. It like makes me want to jump out of my skin. I'm so anxious. I'm so annoyed. I'm so frantic. I'm so like, I can't, it's hard for me to like shift gears.
You have you have to ease them into something new. You can't just like spring it on them, because it's not going to go over.
And it's crazy because like in a crisis, I'm your man, like more than him. Like in a crisis, I'm more like, I think it's because I get the tunnel vision,
you
right?
Just hone in on.
I'm just like, got to do this. Can't pay attention to any of this. Whereas Aaron's like, I don't know where to focus. But
what? Wait, do that again.
Anna with transitioning is the same way. If it's like, if we need to switch from doing
like talking about hypothia to actually doing my schoolwork,
or switch from your schoolwork to like dinner time, like I have to start, and I know this from my son growing up, I have to start giving her a heads up like 15 minutes. Okay, Anna, in 15 minutes, we're going to put that up and we're going to do dinner. And then 5 minutes later, okay, Anna, 10 more minutes. We're going to pack it up and then we're going to do dinner. Okay, Anna, you've got 5 minutes left. It's time. Like you have to. Otherwise,
you went into what I do is when in the morning, like if I just deviate from one of the steps a little bit out of order, that just like throwing a wrench into the machine.
If he needs to like clean the garage and then go do the laundry or something, he'll start cleaning the garage and he'll be like, oh, I gotta go do the laundry.
This isn't about daddies. We're talking about, and that's a little bit different even than the transitioning. You're talking about changing routine. And that's a huge thing, but
that's a big, like, that's like the same. That's a quicker transition.
That's a big no. Like when we have an established routine or way of doing things, right? You experience that a lot where you have your bedtime routine and you do this first and then this and then this. And if it gets switched up, that's when you'll see Anna have an actual meltdown. She doesn't have a ton of meltdowns, I have to say. But that is one thing that has always caused a meltdown with Anna is a switch in the routine. It's just difficult for her to manage that. There's the lack of social cues, which a lot of people picked up on in the interview, whether they understand that's what they were looking at or not. Anna's mannerisms and reaction to Chris, when he was kind of trying to change subjects, or when he was being playful with her and she was being very literal and serious. That's her inability to pick up on some social cues. And that's one of the ways that we started considering autism as a diagnosis was in her interaction with friends in her classes and her friends in person. We noticed that there was a lack of emotional reaction happening. She wasn't as excited about certain things as other kids her age would typically be. She also doesn't have the kind of gravity or sadness about certain things that other typical kids would. Like all of her kind of fringe emotional responses, like the extremes, they're not there, right? That's like one of the big things that started us questioning. And then the interaction with her friends, like, for instance, she's always got to have like things her certain way, and if they get kind of like moved around or adjusted, she's got to go back. And it's a lack of social, like, inability to just freely let her friends make decisions about how things are going to go. And I know some people are going to say, well, that's because she doesn't get to be around enough kids. No, she went to school in person. She was completely socialized through age 4.5. She played with kids in her Montessori school for years. She was in another school before that. She's had lots of time around kids. This has been like an ongoing social interaction thing with her. And what else? She's always been very literal. She's always been very, what do you call it? Like kind of
hyper-focused. Not
the hyper-focused so much. It's more about the way like you present everything. I mean, if you look back at videos when she was like 2.5, 3.5 years old, you'll see the way that she talks, the way that she explains things. Almost like they used to call them little professors. Definitely you would describe her like a little professor. What else? Overstimulation to certain sensations. Sounds, definitely sounds. I mean, I've always had a calming corner for her because I think that there were a lot of these behaviors before Aaron joined the family. They just weren't as obvious because if we're both autistic and we're in the same environment and it's just the two of us, like it was, there wouldn't be anyone to say, guys, this is weird. So it's not until you have someone in the household who is neurotypical that it's kind of like, you're both doing this thing. What? And we're like, what? What's the big deal? Right? This is our normal. So I think there were a lot of things that I just didn't recognize really early on. But now looking back, I mean, you can go back and look at the videos, you can see it. So I don't know. What else? Can you think of anything else?
No.
Sharon says, is there therapy they suggest? My nephew had speech appropriation therapy. Yeah, we talked about speech therapy with her. She recommended a really good speech therapist. And funny enough, that's not even, you would think when you think of speech therapist, you think of like maybe for her lisp because she has a mild lisp, or maybe if you're nonverbal, like learning how to communicate, but it's so much more than that, actually. If you're interested in all the things that speech therapy can be used for, Google it, because I was shocked to learn some of the things that they do in speech therapy. So yeah, that might be a good thing for her, help her, with like speaking. It's confusing because when you say helping her with speaking to other kids and people are like, well, what are you talking about? She speaks great. Like I can fully understand everything she says, but again, it's that social nuance, right? Of how to interact with people in a way that people don't get bent out of shape about her being, supposedly conceited or whatever. Like, how to better mask, right? That's kind of what it really comes down to. And I think that there's some level of masking that is probably necessary, but I have worked really hard to raise her in an environment where she didn't feel like she had to be anything other than herself. Like I've always been very careful about that, and not because of her being autistic, because clearly I didn't know until more recently, more so just because of her being a woman, like being a single mom raising a young girl. It was important to me that I raised her with the wherewithal to speak up for herself, and being a girl that is disabled on top of it. Like it was very important to me that Anna felt fully comfortable, advocating for herself. Like, I'm not going to be around forever. She needs to be able to speak for herself. She needs to be able to speak her mind and not feel threatened by other people, or not feel uncomfortable, talking about her feelings and sharing her thoughts and ideas. So it was really important to me, with her being a girl and being a girl with a disability, that she be open like that. So I think, that's maybe some of what people are picking up on as well. They think that children should be seen and not heard, or children need to be, like super, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, my feeling, or my hope for her, is that as she grows up, that she doesn't necessarily need to mask, but I want her to know, why people are responding in a certain way if she doesn't,
Mhm.
if she says something in a certain way. Or I want her to know that she can say something to her if she wants to, but then she can make a choice as to whether, I know that it's going to make people mad, but I don't care. Or, you know what, I want to be a little bit more polite in this situation. I just want her to be aware of it. I don't
Right.
necessarily need her to do it or want her to do it, but I just don't want her to go through life being confused as to why people react to her in a certain way.
Yeah. And now that we have the official diagnosis, that's one of the, everybody's always like, well, why do you want to bother getting her diagnosed? Is because you want money. No, we get no money. We get $0 for anything. Anna doesn't qualify for disability. There's no check coming in. There's none of that. She's not getting any particular services. She's homeschooled. So it's a matter of knowing who she is. It's a matter of having confirmation of the way her brain works, and why. And now that we have that official diagnosis, we can really hone in on understanding those nuances and why they happen, and how to help her recognize them, so that she can choose, like Erin said, in a social situation, to employ some thing that she's learned about proper social etiquette, or to not, depending on the situation and how she feels about it, Greg says, I don't think Anna has a lisp. Anna absolutely has a lisp.
It comes out more so at different times, I think.
It's not severe. In fact, that her speech, her OT said that she didn't even need to have therapy for it, because she has a pretty good, like, she can kind of control it on her own, but it's definitely there. It's kind of cute. Susan says, are there any words that Anna doesn't like to hear regarding her diagnosis? So that's a good thing for you to talk about, because I think people watch some videos like this and they're like, oh my gosh, look at that poor child having to sit there and listen to all these people talk about her. And she looks so bored, and she looks so unhappy and so sad. And why doesn't anybody care what she wants and thinks and likes, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, those are things that people say. So
Do that again?
no, how
Like, what was that?
how do you feel being involved in all of this and hearing us talk about, your different diagnoses and telling the world about it, and like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I'm fine with hearing anything. The only words I don't like hearing are swear words.
Swear words.
Yeah, those are the
I
only
think I
words I
said
don't
2 of those tonight. But you're okay with talking about your autism?
Yeah, of course. In my arthrogryposis, anything.
You're okay with talking about the only thing that I'm not okay talking about is mama, because this isn't about her. And I'm very serious about protecting her privacy. So we keep it that way, right? How do you feel about that?
Who?
Talking about mama. How do you feel about that?
I'm fine with that.
You're fine with that?
I'm thirsty and I need my drink filled
Oh,
up.
get a drink. Get a drink. I'm thirsty too.
That's what you guys want to talk about.
I'm good. I have some still. Thank you. What else? Does anybody else have any questions? I think we're going to go in 10 minutes because, my gosh, we've been on for almost an hour and a half. Let's see. Susan says, I love how real you are with Anna. I've always been this way with her. And that's, it's just the way that I've decided to raise her. Look, she's been through a lot, guys. Like with her medical condition, I couldn't not tell her every aspect of what was going on. I'm not going to send her into operating rooms and put her through hours and hours of painful therapy without explaining to her what's going on. And I know for me personally, when I understand something all the way, I'm more calm about it. So that's always been my how I've done things with Anna. And I guess thankfully, luckily, we're a lot similar and it's worked out. I suppose she could have been a different type of child that maybe could have been overstimulated by getting that much information. There are children out there going through surgeries and therapies who don't want to talk about it. There are children out there going through surgeries and therapies who are scarred by that experience, who are traumatized. But Anna's not one of them. And she's always been very receptive to having the knowledge. I think she appreciates that as much as I do. Yeah, Tanya, of course. I mean, we're just giving you guys the information from our point of view because it's about our life. This isn't about anyone else's life. We can't speak for you. You have your own beliefs. You may or may not want to be diagnosed. You may or may not have a disability. You may or may not agree that this is the right way to raise a child. That has nothing to do with us. Those are your beliefs. Those are your perspectives. That's your life. Has nothing to do with us. Just like our life has nothing to do with you. So, that's fine if you don't agree. Like, you do you. We're going to do our thing. We're just sharing our thing. It doesn't in any way change what you do or decide what you do or affect you watching in any way, shape, or form. It's just us sharing who and what we are. Sherry says, I was hoping she'd talk about the filing system in her brain.
I can.
That's a fun one.
I can. If you want to.
David says, what exactly is arthrogryposis? Can you tell what exactly is arthrogryposis first?
Yeah, so arthrogryposis is a condition, not a disease, that affects me on all 4 limbs, my arms, my legs. And so what happens is, for my arms, I was born with my legs that were stuck in a bent position, or in the quote-unquote scientific-y term, flexion. And that means bend. And my arms, they were stuck straight, or in the scientific-y term, extension. And so, because they were stuck that way, I had to get 3 surgeries. 3 entire surgeries. 4. And well, I mean, including, yes, but like 3 main surgeries, so I couldn't actually do proper things, and so I can have babies.
4. It's okay. Tell them about the
You
surgery.
tell them about the one I kind of forgot.
Oh, because you were 4 months old. When you were 4 months old, you had a heel cord release, and that brought your feet, because her left foot was turned almost all the way upside
Yeah, it was
down,
like the-
and her right foot was clubbed. That heel cord release brought her feet into that kind of 90-degree angle so that she could stand on them. Kind of a big deal, right?
Mhm.
That was like step 1.
Yeah, and then when I was 1 year old, I had an elbow release, which is to clear up things called contractures. And contractures are calcifications in the bone that allow it so it can't move. So it's like if I just had this stuck.
Makes
over
it
this-
stuck in a fixed position, right?
Yeah, so if like my
Like
arm
your
would be
wrist.
stuck like that. Yes. Now my wrist can still bend enough in order for me to do things. Still. But what happens is in my wrist, in my wrist, there's right on my wrist there's a little calcification, and so I can't straighten it out even if mommy pushes on it. And so yeah, at 1 year old, I had my first elbow release on my right arm, and then when I was 2 years old, I had another one on my left arm, and then when I was 3 years old, I had a surgery on both my legs. We call it the Feldman special. And because he didn't want to do both the legs at once. But he did. And that's what we call it, the Feldman special. And that allowed my knees to actually be able to straighten and bend so I can actually walk. Now I cannot just walk, but I can run super fast and spin around 3 times on one foot. And
You've come a long way, baby. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of information in our videos about her arthrogryposis. In fact, there's an entire series. If you go to our website, amcprincessanna.com, and you look on the Anna's AMC tab of our website,
or just do amcprincessanna.com/AMC.
There's a whole series of videos that Anna and I made when she was just 3 and 4 years old, explaining everything about her arthrogryposis. Will it get better over time? Like, will she be able to use her hands? She can use her hands now.
Yeah.
She doesn't have any problems using her hands. She uses her hands for everything. She writes, she eats, she helps cook, she carries stuff around the house.
Giant heavy bins of toys on dinosaurs and stuff and carry it with my teeth. Yeah, that's another way I do stuff too, in case like it's too heavy for my hands. I just
differently.
But like she just explained, it has gotten very much better over time.
Yes.
It's been a constant. The first 5 years of her life were just constant surgeries, treatments, therapies, lots of tears, right? Lots of hard work and tears to get where she is today, and she is
even better,
phenomenally in an amazing place with her physical disability today. She's very functional. This is about the best that we can hope for, and there's really not much else at this point that needs to be done. At this point now, through like adulthood, she's just going to be learning how to perform more day-to-day functions on her own. She needs to, work on dressing and all of those kind of day-to-day things like that, so that she can be as independent as possible, because the idea is that she will move out and live, maybe not by herself if she doesn't want to, but maybe by herself if she wants to. There's I think she's going to be able to drive. She's going to be able to.
Speaking of driving,
what?
I wanted to tell you that I want to get a bigger version of my little pink car if I can, so I can actually practice driving around.
She wants like a new Power Wheels like she used to have when she was younger.
With the gas pedal and some brakes, if it has it.
Mr. Red says, Anna, when did you become a redhead? So her hair has been getting darker over the last year or two. It has. She used to be much more of a sandy blonde. My other two children were both born with very blonde hair, which then became sandy blonde, which then became more brown. Anna definitely seems to be picking up more red highlights. My mother has red hair, so that makes sense. It runs in the family. So she's getting that from grandma.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of strawberry blonde, I
Yeah.
would say, at this point.
Yeah, Anna was strawberry blonde. Yep.
My hair is also, it did just get wet, so it's still drying off, and that can also make it darker.
Yeah,
With the water.
Sharon says, is there anything that Anna didn't touch on in the interview that she wants us to know now? Good
Not
question.
really. No.
No? Nothing you felt was missing?
No, not really.
Greg says, I'm proud of her and how much she's done so far. Thank you. It's been a long road, but we've come a long way. But really, I just feel like we're in a great place. What about you? Do you feel like physically you're in a good place? Is there anything physically that you really feel like you wish you were able to do now that you can't? Like, what would you want to work on? Anything?
Not much. Except for driving and horseback riding are the only two things I'd like to do.
Yeah, she asked when we were on our way strawberry picking the other day. She said that she would like to go horseback riding. So we've started to look into hippotherapy in the area, and hopefully that's something that we can maybe add this summer. Let's see. Cheryl says, I love the video where Anna was little and she had to walk for the doctor and he was honest. I know, it's a very sweet. It's like her first steps after her surgery when she was just 3. Yeah. Yeah. Victoria says, I loved the interview. I've seen him interview other special needs kids. Sharon says it was a great interview. Kudos to Chris. Yeah. Thank you to Chris. If he happens to see this, thank
Cool
you.
guy.
I mean, we emailed him too and told him when he was here, but we appreciated the opportunity and him spotlighting our family, and hopefully people find us. I was a little disappointed with, like I said, the amount of people that actually, I think it was only like maybe 1,500 people found their way over. And if you're one of them, welcome. I was really hoping more people would find us so they could learn about arthrogryposis and learn about, what we're all about. But maybe over time they will.
Do you see?
Melanie says, what is hippotherapy? It is.
Can I explain?
Yes. Do you know?
Yes.
Yes. Explain.
So hippotherapy is just like, if you ever have ridden a horse, when you ride a horse, you use your legs to like squeeze your hips to squeeze on to the sides of the horse so you don't fall off of it. That's essentially hippotherapy, and what it does is it strengthens up the muscles there so you can actually squeeze to stay on. Even if you're not perfect at it, that's just essentially what it trains you to do.
Hippo is Latin for horse, I think.
It's somehow, I don't know the exact details, but it somehow will help improve her gait, her strength in her walking. I think it does kind of improve the muscles. Now, that is one part of arthrogryposis I think we forgot to mention, is that not only does it affect the joints in being in a fixed position, but her muscles are affected. That's why people like to talk about how she's malnourished. She's not malnourished. Her skinny arms and legs are a result of her not having muscle. She doesn't have muscle like you guys have, most of you. And she doesn't have the ability to bulk up her muscle like most of you do, because her muscle is made of a different kind of tissue. And so in addition to having joints that are fixed and kind of stuck in with a limited range of motion, she also is lacking muscle. And so she doesn't have the muscle to kind of squeeze her legs together on a saddle. So they will have certain supports, I'm sure, that will help her stay on and keep her safe. But yes, Joyce says it improves balance also. That is correct. So that's my understanding of hippotherapy being a horse riding therapy, that it's with a PT and they know what they're doing and they do it in such a way that it helps improve her balance and her gait. And I think it could be very beneficial, in addition to being emotionally beneficial, right? Because horses are freaking amazing. And how fun would that be to go do that every weekend for a while?
You used to go horseback riding.
I did at Girl Scout camp. every summer. Yeah. Susan says, what is your first target regarding numbers for YouTube? Like our goal for followers? We'd like to get to 50K. We're at like 32 right now. It'd be great to reach that 50K goal. We've been hoping for that since we switched over here. If you guys are new, I saw someone say, I came over from your video. We've been primarily over on Facebook all these years. We have almost 700,000 followers on Facebook. Most of them obviously did not follow us over to YouTube, but we had to switch because of things changing with the way Meta is running ad revenue, and it just became way more work than it was worth over there. And so we're now primarily focused on live streaming and posting videos on YouTube. And so we're trying to build our YouTube audience. It's a new thing for us. And so hopefully we will grow over here over time as well. All right. I think we should probably say goodbye. This is a long video. Yes, Melanie says, I think she will love horseback riding. It definitely strengthens your core, but she's got a crazy.
Yeah, this kid's like a Pilates core.
She's got like a circus trick core. She always has. Adam says, I want you to get to a minimum of 150K. Thank you, Adam. That would be pretty cool. That would alleviate a lot of stress going on in our life right now from the changes. That's for sure. Eventually it takes time. So if you
Sharon, her kicks are unbelievable.
They are unbelievable. She's very flexible. But if you're here, if you're new, if you're not new, if you're enjoying our family, if you like what we do, if you want to support us, watch our videos. We've got a ton of them. You can go replay, share our videos, make sure you're subscribed, meaning following, so that you get notifications when we post and when we go live. And I don't know, click all the things. There's a bunch of things to click. Just click them all. And
just messed around with things.
And watch at least 30 seconds of the ads.
At least 30 seconds of the ads.
And
just
report some feedback. I don't know. Push the little feedback button.
Yeah, all the
That's
things. And we'll just keep doing what we do and sharing all of our craziness with you all. So
Stacy says, love that over the head kick. I can't do that.
Oh gosh, do you think YouTube could support Anna's life and independence in the future? My hope in sharing our story, when I first started, before she was born, my hope in sharing our story, the reason why I started our story on social media, was just to share our story with her arthrogryposis to help other AMC families. And as our platform grew over on Facebook, and we were able to start monetizing and we had a larger audience, we were able to start our nonprofit to help other AMC families financially. So in addition to sharing our story over the years and helping people find good medical care and figuring out how to help their own AMCers, we've also been able to have this nonprofit now for since 2020, and we've helped many AMC families with $5,000 financial grants. We were giving them out every month. We're still doing it periodically. So that's been huge. And then it became just sharing our life and our story because it was inspirational to many people. And I think, positivity is important, and teaching people that kind people do beautiful things and all of that. And then Aaron joined the family, and it became about sharing our life as a family, as a blended family, as a growing and learning family.
And then Jamila came into our family.
And then we're sharing our life with a service dog. And then there was an autism diagnosis. And now we're sharing our life with autism. And, it's just about hopefully helping people. If you're watching our videos and you're getting anything out of it that's helping you or that's giving you a sense of positivity or joy, then we're doing it. We're doing it right. And my hope is that Anna, not necessarily financial longevity from doing social media, because we're not going to be doing social media forever. I'm sure things are going to change over time. opportunities, right? Like she already inherently, because of who she is and her ability to learn and her lust for education and her ability to be excited about life, I think that she's going to have just a plethora of opportunities. And doing this right now as a family, doing social media, being social media influencers or whatever you want to call it, earning ad revenue on our videos right now as a family allows me to stay home with her full time, allows me to homeschool her, which I firmly believe is the best thing for her. And hopefully over time, she will be exposed to more people and more opportunities. And by the time she is ready to go off on her own, she will be able to support herself financially. And she won't have to do it by being on disability every month because she doesn't have a lot of opportunities, or she won't have to have a very physical job that isn't good for her and her body. Hopefully she'll have bigger opportunities that will support her going forward, so we don't have to worry so much about where she goes in the future and how she does it, right?
Yes.
Hopefully this will be positive for her, which is another reason why it's important to me that our social media remains positive. It's why we don't do the kind of fad entertainment, weird pranks and silly videos, and we're not all about going viral. We just want to make ends meet and give her the best life possible, and make sure that she is able to have the best life she can after we're done raising her and after we're gone. So that's it. Right? Anything else? Anybody? I know I do all the talking. It's always been this way. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. I'm the mama bear. I'm the talker.
What about Gemelli? Is she bear? Is she some kind of bear?
Belinda says, I don't think I've seen any of yours before Anna as have spoke of before. I'm not sure what that means. I started at the point of Anna walking on the grass. Oh gosh, Belinda, there's so many baby videos on YouTube. In fact, there's more on YouTube than there are on Facebook. So just poke around our channel. You'll find all kinds of videos from when she was younger than that. They're there. All right, guys, we got to go.
All right.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us for this long and learning more about our family. And if you're new to our channel, thank you for coming over and welcome. And we're looking forward to getting to know you. And we'll see you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.